Good morning, Sastri sir.
Good morning, Ritam.
How are you doing today, sir?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Fantastic.
హలో శాస్త్రి సార్ గుడ్ మార్నింగ్. బాగున్నా మేడం. గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ మేడం. శాస్త్రి సార్
Good morning, sir.
గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ సార్. Lavanya madam,
Good morning, sir.
very good morning. Snehit, Snehit,
Good morning. Good morning, Mr. Kamakar Raju.
very good morning. ఎలా ఉంది వెదర్ అక్కడ?
Right now it's raining.
అపర్ణ మేడం,
సార్ స్టార్ట్ చేద్దామా సార్?
సార్ ఇంకా జాయిన్ అవ్వలేదా?
ఎప్పుడో జాయిన్ అయ్యారు సార్, 9:20 కల్లా జాయిన్ అయిపోయారు సార్.
రిధమ్ సార్ జాయిన్ అయ్యారా?
అవును సార్.
Yes, I have been here since 9:25. Good morning.
ఓకే ఓకే ఓకే. గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ రిధమ్ సార్.
Good morning.
Shall we start, sir?
I am ready, absolutely. If everybody is, and I'm more than happy to take this forward. No problem.
Okay.
So let me know if I can start, and then I can take things forward.
We'll start, sir. Few proceedings are there, then after that we'll go.
No problem. Thank you.
కమలాకర్ సార్ స్టార్ట్.
Madam,
ఓకే సార్.
you can start now.
యా ఓకే సార్. గుడ్ మార్నింగ్ ఎవ్రీవన్. Respected resource person, faculty members, and dear participants. I am Aparna, lecturer in Computer Science Department. Feel honored to welcome you all for the international webinar on industries, IT services, and platforms. I request our beloved HOD, Mr. Kamlakar Raju, to address the gathering.
Respected today's resource person, Ridham Sengupta, IT consultant, a renowned consultant of more than 500 Fortune companies. Respected faculty members and my dear students. Good morning, one and all. I'm so happy to welcome you all for this international webinar on industries, IT services, and platforms. Today, after completion of the graduation, the students are confused at what sector that we need to be placed. What is the standard of the industries, whether we are in the cope up with the industry standards or not. And we are not aware of what are the services that are available in IT and what platform that we have really we stood in front of so that we can place it. All these questions are there in our mind. The Rhythm sir is one of the renowned resource person in this market. Now he can deliberately gives you the inputs, what is the industry need, and what are the IT services that actually we have, and what platform that really provides you to stand in front of so that I can get some place in the market. So my dear friends, this is the time to think of a better way and think of the reasons what we follow, and then at what place that I have to be placed, and we need to be prepared. I would like to say one thing: we need to be prepared before an opportunity comes. If opportunity comes, we are not prepared, then we cannot place it. So we are following 3 C's: accelerating change, overwhelming complexion, and tremendous competition. The world is running in a competitive manner. We need to be in a position whether we are in that state or not, which in the sense we need to excel our knowledge. Unless until sitting in front of the TV or mobile phone, thinking of different ways, it will not give you the solution on us. So that's the reason we have three E's are there, and one is employment, education, and entrepreneurship. At what level we will go, whether we will go for vertical mobility after completion my graduation or PG or maybe MPhil, PhD, or I can go for an employment after completion my graduation, or I can be an entrepreneur so that I can give an ability to other persons who work with me. So these are the different options, and the more options can given by our resource person today, that is Rhythm. I welcome once again Rhythm sir. I welcome all the attendees today, and I hope this today's session is a fruitful session for our vertical mobility. Once again, I welcome you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like request Mr. T. Mallikarjun, Lecturer of Computer Science Department, to introduce today's chief guest.
Good morning, all. This is T. Mallikarjun, lecturer in computer science, Andhra Loyola College. I find immense pleasure in introducing our guest, Ritam Sen Gupta, IT consultant and seasoned business development manager for Fortune 500 companies. He has over 16 years of experience with companies like Dell, Microsoft, TUI, and Sonata Software. He is experienced in sales and services, business development, account management, bid management, and proficiency in software licensing, cloud computing, and on-premise architecture. He was successful full track record in business development in various industries and in several technology areas. Here, I extend a warm welcome to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It is a great privilege for me to invite Mr. Ridham Sengupta to enlighten us with his talk. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much for this warm welcome. I hope I'm loud and clear here. It is really a privilege and honor to associate myself with Loyola once again after 20 years. So I was a Loyolite back in the year 2000, 2001, 2002, and it's great to be here back in the foray of esteemed lecturers. My favorites, Sastry sir, I have Lavanya madam here, and also Kamalakar Raju sir, who I've been interacting with for the past couple of days. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And without further ado, let me try and share my screen, and you can let me know if the screen is visible. Right. If one of you can confirm this is working well, I will go ahead and start my presentation.
We can see your screen, sir.
That's brilliant. All right. So again, thank you. Welcome all. I know we've got a number of students here, but I would look at you as Kamalakar sir said, that most of you could be entrepreneurs. Most of you could also get into education field and what next. But I look at all of you as the new future leaders. So future leaders, first of all, again, good morning and a warm welcome in today's session. Let me try and tell you why I have chosen industries, IT services, and platforms as one of the important topics to discuss. Like we hear after our graduation or after our studies, there are multiple industries that's there in the market, and we are not too sure what do we want to get into. However, because we're in the field of IT, we know that IT services actually caters to all industries, irrespective of it being just a grocery or retail or pharma. So what I will do in the few next couple of minutes, or possibly the next 45 minutes, I'll take you through as to what I think will work the best and what I think will actually help you. So just to let you know, the intent of today's presentation is to try and make you aware of how the IT industry contributes to all industries across the world and how the trend is moving towards digital transformation. All right, so one little disclaimer, I'd like this session to be a little interactive. So I'll be very happy if someone can go ahead and answer some of my questions, or you can put your questions forward. All right, agreed? Great. So let me now go ahead and talk about what could be the regular journey of an individual. Let's say, for example, if I'm a student, or I'm a working class man, or I'm someone who's taking classes or teachers. What could be our journey in a calendar month? So let us try and see what are the elements or activities we come across in a month. I hope you can still see my screen. What I've put across is a calendar. And let's see what are the things that we can see in the first day or in the first few days of a calendar month. Agreed that in the first day, we'll look at groceries, we'll look at shopping for the entire month. Someone can probably nod and say a yes.
Agreed.
Great. As the weekend approaches, one thing that I've always favored by being in Vijayawada is that we've always want to look at entertainment and movies. So that is something that comes up on a weekend. Now with the trend of medication and vaccination coming across, we know that we probably have to get ourselves vaccinated. So medicine is another part which comes into a day-to-day month or in a calendar month. Ideally, in the next week or in the coming week, we look at paying our regular bills. This could be our telephone bills. This could also be our electricity bills. We pay for our Tara Sky connections. Some of us have probably subscribed to some of the OTT channels. So all of that happens in probably the second week. Again, a weekend comes. Let's think about going to a dining experience. We probably, well, I was there back in the year 2000. When I was in Vijayawada, I would probably go and have the local cuisine. But then now I'm sure most of things have changed in Vijayawada and there are a lot of huge outlets out there. So a dining experience. Next comes, say a birthday comes up in one of the days and we think that, okay, we've been only out with friends. Let's take our family and we bring in Swiggy and Zomato and get some food delivery ordered into our daily lives. As the month progresses, we also think, why don't we also try and get into probably a store where we buy some shopping, do some shopping experiences, look into some kind of shopping. And let's say with the lockdown opening up, we've decided that, okay, great, now that we've got some shopping done, can we think about some travel? Can we probably go to a Sri Lanka beach or a Chilala beach? So we plan something of that sort, a travel or a vacation, right? And then at the end of the month or at the beginning, what always happens is we deal with money. So probably some of us get our salary on the last working day of the week, right? So look at all of these things that gets incorporated, or these are the regular activities we find in a monthly calendar. Now, can some of you come and tell me what is it that you see is missing in all of these days? We as students or working professionals, what do you think is missing in this calendar? Let's make it more interactive. Anybody can come up and tell me what is it that you think is missing. Okay, I'll try to make it a little easy. There's our studies. It is our education, right? It's something that we cannot let go ourselves, because even while we are studying, we are working right now, we have to keep ourselves equipped with the new technology. Every time that we are either we are students in college or we are working, we always have to equip ourselves with knowledge, and that is something which is constant across the month, right? Now, all of this now brings me to my first topic of discussion, which is industries. In the following slides, what we'll try and see are how do these activities trigger each industries? Why are we even talking about industries from an IT standpoint? We need to understand that while we get into after our completion of studies, what is it that we want to get into? How can we go ahead and see that from an IT standpoint, whatever we are learning today, how can we effectively utilize our position in the industry's background? Now, let me pause here and give you a brief of what I had done post my education. After my education, I moved into a company, which is a multinational company called Dell International. With Dell, I was equipped with learning about servers, about storage, about networking, understanding how IT hardware functions. After that, I moved into the software side of businesses. So I tried to understand about the licensing solutions. I tried to understand how can software help the industries. Software, let's say, things like what we hear on a regular basis, like virtualization, operating systems, VMware, Hyper-V, all of those things is what I try to engage myself in. Now we hear about Azure, AWS, Google Cloud Platform. So I tried to venture into that industry. After that, I moved into the ITES, or the IT and services industry. So let me now tell you what I'm going to cover in the next few slides. So first, let's talk about the activities that we spoke in the previous slide. We spoke about groceries. These groceries ideally could be your vegetables. It could also be your daily ration that you buy, probably things like in today's world, sanitizers. You look at Dettol, you look at purifiers, you look at your regular goods as such for groceries. We look at entertainment. We spoke about medicines and vaccinations. We spoke about bills. We spoke about dining, food, shopping, travel, money, and studies. Now let us see how are these activities actually working in terms of the various industries at the moment. So here again, I'd like your help, and I'll try to understand from you all what is your experience of the following industries. First is the consumer packaged goods. Can any of you tell me that what is your understanding of a consumer packaged goods industry? Okay, I'll try to make it a little easy. So for anything which is a fast moving consumer goods, anything which is highly perishable, that comes under a CPG. So whenever you are talking about groceries, the first industry that you try to cater to is the consumer packaged goods. So industry and activities are getting related one by one. Another industry which you will find is the media and entertainment. While we talk about movies, we also think about entertainment in various different angles. Platforms, OTT platforms, we look at fun parks, we look at Disney, we look at, let's say, our water parks and activities areas. We talk about things like, say, fun game, a gaming zone that we get into for bowling alleys. These all fall under the media and entertainment industry. What comes next is your life sciences and healthcare. Now, this is primarily where you get into the pharma industry. In today's world, everybody, when we look at a lot of advertisements, NetMeds, PharmEasy. So there is online subscription models, there is delivery options back home. So all of this comes under the life sciences and healthcare. All the vaccinations that's being created right now comes under this bracket, right? What next is your power and utilities. So when you talk about regular bills, this talks about your gas connections, your electricity, your DTH connections. Now, whenever we talk about power and utilities, we don't just look at bills. We don't just look at our telephone connections. We also look at field services. When I mean field services, say, for example, if something goes wrong at somebody's place, for example, our telephone connections, the tower is not coming across. We call up the power team, we call up the utilities team and ask them to come and intervene and help, right? Post that, we look at food and beverage industry, one of the most famous industries in today's world. Food and beverage includes everything to do with consumption of your cold coffees, your cold drinks, anything to do with dining experience, your food and beverage. Next is your manufacturing. Your manufacturing could be your discrete manufacturing or process manufacturing. When I say discrete, these are primarily companies who are building automobiles, building phones like Apple, General Motors, Ford. All of these come under discrete manufacturing. And then comes process manufacturing. Process is someone who is making processed food, somebody who's probably making cheese, dairy products. These all come under process manufacturing, right? Whenever you're talking about shopping, you're talking about retail. So retail stores like Levi's, Lee, anything to do with retail. Let's say your garments, your accessories, your clothing, anything that comes with retail industries. Post which we look at travel. So while you're traveling, you're going for vacation, you're actually connecting with the travel industry, which means you're getting into the reservation platform, you're looking at booking online, you're using your mobile phones. So there is a touch of connectivity and IT across all of industries. I have a couple of more to discuss, which is automotive. Anything to do with automotive manufacturing. These days, you know that earlier we had only petrol and diesel cars. Now we are getting into electric cars. In tomorrow's world, you will see they're all self-driven cars. You'll have completely cars which is run completely on robotics. Then comes your banking, financial services, one of the most favorite topics in today's world. Nothing works without a bank, right? So financial services include payment integrations. All the kind of banking transactions comes under these industries. Research and education. While we are in the field of education, today, look at the way things have progressed. Look at the amount of platforms that we currently have. Today, we are on Google Meet. There is Microsoft Teams. There is Zoom. There's so much that's got into the education field of things. So much getting into meetings. Microsoft has developed so many platforms for research and education. We'll talk about that in the follow-up slides in which phase. The last industry is basically the public, government, research, and non-profit, right? Now, the reason I've put all of these industries and activities is that you will actually realize that all the activities that you do during a month resonates with any of these industries. And all of these industries is actually backed up by our IT services. Now, again, I need your help, and I need 5 people to come up with 5 different multinational software companies. So can any 5 of you come up and tell me some of the 5 multinational companies or 6 multinational companies that you have heard of, you want to aim once you move out of your college, industries or companies that you want to target? Anybody? Do you want to come up and talk to me about any such industries or names that you've come across? Anyone, guys? Let's make it very interactive, please.
Microsoft.
Fantastic. Microsoft is one. Next.
Google.
Beautiful. Google is second. Next.
Wipro.
Wipro is probably, and it's more of a services industry, but okay, I will take that. Think about Microsoft. Microsoft is creating its own products, right? Google is creating its own products. What next?
Amazon. Cisco.
Beautifully said. Excellent. What next? Give me 2 more names.
Cisco.
TCS, sir.
Excellent. TCS is also a services company, but I'll take it. Definitely, yes, that's good. Cisco, I heard Cisco. Fantastic name.
Cognizant.
What next? Again, Cognizant services industry. I'll take it. That's great. But at least we are thinking on the right direction. Fantastic stuff. Anyone else wants to give me a few names as well? Anybody else? Saturday morning. Come on. Let's make it more interactive.
Amazon.
One more name. Well done. Yeah, that's taken. Okay, let me try and make things a little easy. And I think it's great to see that all of us are thinking on the same page. So look at my next slide. So my next slide talks about Microsoft. It talks about Google. I've taken Salesforce. I hope you've heard of Salesforce. I've taken SAP, and I've taken Oracle. Now, why have I put such big names in this slide? And why do you think we were just talking about industries? So in next follow-up slides, I will actually show you that all of these big names, I know Amazon is not here, not mentioned, that Cisco is not here, but if you go onto the website, you will see that all of these organizations actually cater to all the industries that we spoke of in the previous slide. All right, so let's see what Microsoft has to say. Look at the kind of industries that Microsoft is currently catering to. Microsoft looks at automotive, so it tells that it helps automakers in the auto industry redefine mobility with connected autonomous vehicles and smart mobility services powered by intelligent supply chain. So Microsoft's own software is there to help work on these solutions, right? Financial services, government, healthcare, manufacturing, media and communications, retail, non-profit. Look at the industries Microsoft is catering to. I have put in the link here, so once you actually move into, when you get these slides, when you go to the link, you will see all the industries they're referring to and the kind of solutions Microsoft has to tackle all of these industries. I do not know if you've heard of some of these products, but I believe some of you may have heard of Microsoft Dynamics 365. Have some of you come across this term? I can take a yes or a no from anyone. It's okay if it's a no.
No from my side.
Okay, that's fine. Anyway, we'll talk on some of those things in the future slides. But you will realize that Microsoft has a number of products or software that caters to all these industries. Now let's look at Google. Google, again, this is from Google's page. Google looks at all the industry solutions that we were talking. So Google's own solutions, own platforms, own products actually cater to all of these industries: retail, consumer packaged goods, manufacturing, automotive, supply chain. None of the industries that we've missed, everything is what Google caters to. let's look at Salesforce. Uh, I hope some of you have heard of Tableau, right? Tableau is one of their analytics company which Salesforce has recently acquired. So Salesforce also looks at these industries. So there is no big multinational company that doesn't cater to industries, which means they are basically trying to solve everybody's day-to-day activities, whether it is end customers like us or companies who are trying to deliver those solutions to us. Let's say a manufacturing company, let's say a steel manufacturing company, right? Let's say Steel Authority of India Limited. How would SAIL help in terms of creating more products, more services in a quicker time? That's when they would leverage companies, bigger companies like Salesforce, Google, or Microsoft, and come back and tell them that, listen, I want to actually go ahead and reduce my time to market. Can you help me with a solution? Similarly, if you look at, say, SAP also has categorized their industries into 6 different forums. They look at energy and natural resources, they look at service industries, consumer industries, look at agribusiness, consumer products, fashion, public services, financial services, discrete industries. So the reason I'm putting up these slides is that whenever you are looking at these companies, you will see that all of these companies are looking at industries as a whole, which means tomorrow when you get into the market, if you are an end user, you will be able to connect the dots saying that, okay, if I am actually transacting through a Citibank, or if I'm transacting through an Access Mobile or an ICICI, think about the elements. Think about, see, ICICI will not develop the software. ICICI will need to depend on companies or software companies, and they would need to bring up these solutions, right? So that's where the industries and your software companies merge. That's what is going to be basically my next topic. So if there are industries and if there are software companies, how are these companies shaking hands? And that's where the next topic comes, which is IT services and consulting, right? So all consulting and ITS companies focus primarily on improving the processes within the industries. So how can I bring the cost down? How can I improve the time to market? How can I show cost savings? Or how can I even avoid those costs, right? What are the processes that is too labor intensive? I mean, what are the things that I can possibly go ahead and start looking at? Can I reduce manual intervention? Can I make things more easy? Are we collecting the sentiment of buyers? So all of that is where the IT services and consulting comes. Some of you have spoken about Wipro, right? Some of you have spoken about Cognizant. So these are the companies that go ahead and talk about providing these IT services and consulting. Leaders, are you all able to follow? Respected members of the faculty are all able to follow? Is everything visible right now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's great. I hope this is being helpful. Let's try and continue the process. So like I was saying, that all the IT services companies like Cognizant, company like Wipro, companies like even Amazon, company like Infosys, okay, they basically try and try to solve the processes and functions within these industries, right? So I have made a list of some of these processes. Let's look at some of them. Let's take about 30 seconds to look through some of these processes and see if all of you relate to these processes. So let's take a product lifecycle management. For example, Apple is trying to launch its new phone. We already have Apple 12. Probably they're looking at Apple 14. Let's think about Windows 10. We know there is Windows 10 already in the market, but you might be aware that Windows is already launching another operating system called Windows 11. So if there's a product Microsoft wants to launch, if there's a new car, let's say, if some of you have heard of the new cars in the market, let's say Skoda is making a new car called Kushaq. So if they want to bring a new product into the market, how was the life cycle going to be managed? Right from starting of procuring the raw materials to assembling all of that, looking at the assembly line, and to the finished product. That is a process that the IT services will want to solve. Supply chain, when I say supply chain, think about getting the raw materials from, let's say you want to have coffee today. You are looking at brew or Nescafe instant coffee. You go to a supermarket, you get a brew and Nescafe. Now, can you think that in a brew or a Nescafe, how many industries or what is actually behind getting that coffee into your house? There is a production of cocoa. Cocoa needs to be taken by the farmers. They need to be processed in a particular, let's say, in a manufacturing company. Then that needs to be brought into through logistics into a warehouse. That need to be assembled. All of that end to end, right from production, right from growing cocoa to coming into a Nescafe or a brew, the entire chain or the supply chain is what industries try to solve. Logistics, right from a go down to the retailers. So whenever you look at, let's say you go to a supermarket, you go to Qmart, you go to Reliance Fresh, you will see a lot of trucks who are getting your finished products into the Reliance Fresh, right? So logistics, how is that being catered to? How can you improve logistics? Procurement of seeds, manufacturing processes, sales. So for example, I want to sell a particular computer to someone. So I need to understand that in a sales, there is first of all a prospect customer, which means there is a lead. Am I been able to look at an opportunity? Am I able to close the opportunity, or have I lost the opportunity? There are multiple processes inside a sales cycle that needs to be developed and equated. Marketing. So for example, there is a new shirt from Levi's, right? But you need to market the product. You need to advertise the product. How would you do that? That also needs to be consulted through IT company. Though the companies will have their own advertising fields, but they need to rely on certain softwares that will help them to advertise the product, market the product. HR, right? Human resources. There's so many things when you get into a company, when you become a say, HR director, if that's the choice of industry you want to get into. Think about the number of people or employees you will have to manage. Think about our own college. So many students. How is that being managed? So many lectures, so many esteemed colleagues and principals who are there. How is that being managed? Everything is dependent on software. E-commerce, right? So today you're looking at anything to do with Flipkart, Myntra, Amazon. They have just developed the e-commerce portal in a different way. POS systems, which means your point of sale systems. Today you have contactless cards. You go ahead and tap the card onto this POS system. So things are developing. Payment integrations. Earlier there were only credit card or cash on delivery. Today we have UPI. Today we have got so many ways of transacting and integrations. Customer behavior and trends. Today companies don't just create products, because just creating products will not help them. They have to understand what the customer really wants. What is it the customer really thinks about buying and selling? Okay, so those trends, feedback from Instagram, Facebook, social media, all of that works. Bookings and reservations, returns, collections, and deliveries. So I do not know if you've heard of, while you move into the next field after your studies, all right, you will hear of multiple things called digital transformation. You will think about Industry 4.0. I'm sure you've already heard of that. So everything, whether it's advertising, accounting, yield management, risk management, asset tagging, BI, inventory, revenue, customer experience, all of these are processes that IT companies are now trying to solve, right? Any questions on this slide, people? Anything that you'd like to ask or check with me? Okay, I'll take that as a no. So now the following slide is where I would like your help for sure. Please let me know how many of you can relate to this particular building. How many of you can know what this building is? Anybody?
Transit Mall.
That's great. That's absolutely correct. Now that's Transit. I have taken this picture from Google, and this is something that unfortunately I have not been able to see because it was not in Vijayawada while this was being constructed. It's a place I want to visit. But all of us understand what malls are, right? All of us have been to malls. It's a regular things. So can some of you tell me what are the things that you see in a mall? What are the things that right from you enter into a mall till you come out? What are certain things that you see? What does a mall actually have? Can again 5 or 6 of you or 10 of you tell me what those things are?
Clothing brand.
Go ahead. Brands, excellent. Next. What else do you see?
Gadget store.
Gadget stores, great point. Yes, so stores and brands. I'll club it into one. What else?
Foods and beverages.
Sorry, someone said
Foods
something.
and beverages.
Exactly, yeah. Beverages, cosmetic, food centers. That's right. Very good. Now, let me also try and bring something up. Have you seen this product somewhere? Do you know what this is? The one that I've just clicked, the small little device to the right. Have you seen this product anywhere?
Yeah, it's a transaction.
Exactly. So what this is basically, so even in petrol pumps you will see this. But yeah, whenever you go ahead inside a mall and you want to make a payment, right? This is called a mobile point of sale system, right? I'll tell you what all this does. It just does not take a card transaction. It just does not give you a bill, but there are multiple things that this does. I'll talk about that a little later. Have you seen something like this in your malls? Let's say you walk into a McDonald's store. Have you seen this particular thing?
It's a self-ordering machine.
Exactly. It's a self-portrait machine. It's also something which we call as a kiosk, right? Then you look at food and beverages. You look at probably a Subway in a mall or food like this, right? Stores like this. One important element we see in malls is theaters, right? You have cinema halls. I know some of us are not going there for a few years, but you've got cinema halls. And then what you also find is parking, correct? So some of the elements that you see when you think about a mall or anything is that you look at parking, you look at theaters, you look at kiosks, you look at a point of sale machines, you look at multiple brands, stores, which could be cosmetic stores, it could be retail stores, it could be pharma stores, it could be your food chains, right? Now let's say all the names that you've just mentioned, they want to get a solution. They want to, let's say, go ahead and say, okay, I want to get the best service out of what I want to do. Say, for example, let's say a retailer or a mall or a corporate is trying to build an office, and he thinks of transforming the way he's running his business. And he wants to measure his profits. He realizes that the best way will be to get a consultation done. Now he reaches an IT company, and this IT company, let it be Wipro. Some of you have taken Wipro as an example, right? So, for example, Trendset comes and tells me, listen, I have this much of floor space available. I want to lease it out to, say, 100 of retailers. I want to give it to 20 grocery stores. The top floor will go to theaters, and I want to have ample parking space. What is the best way? What is it that you can do to help me get the best solution? That's when Wipro will come up and say, okay, great. What I have is something called a frictionless office. What I have is I have got services that will help you build the best solution through in a mall. So what they will do, Wipro will get into a consulting with the business owner. So in any industry or in any company, let's say a Trendset mall, there will be a finance guy who's looking into the finance part of how much investment he's going to make. There has to be a digital guy, an IT guy who looks into maintaining the infrastructure of what needs to go. Is there a place where all the servers are going to be stored, right? So once they have done, now they decide to get into an IT services company like Wipro or Infosys. And what Wipro will do, they will look at the entire interiors of how you could build the interior of an office. How would the team need to sit in an office? How can that be effective in terms of the communication? What are the processes that is required in settling that office? And then how can you share or collaborate? To the right side in that circle, you will see it's tasks with kiosk and NFC booking. So the kiosks can be monitored by Wipro. Wipro will go ahead and say, all right, so let's get that near field communications booking. Today, when I get closer to a kiosk, it should understand my presence. It should read my face, and it can tell me when is the last time I visited the mall and what has been my preferences, what is it that I've purchased. When I get closer to, let's say, a Subway, right? When you tap on the device, on a MPOS device, or a mobile point of sale device, it will know that, okay, you've used this card in a transaction sometime last month, and this has been your choice. So you ordered a vegetarian sub and you chose probably extra cheese. So the person who is trying to work on the subway will know, okay, great. Mr. Raju has purchased Subway last month, and this was his preference. It is okay for him to go ahead, and can I recommend that same solution to him? Vendor management. There are multiple vendors. There could be Levi's. There could be pharma stores. There could be grocery stores in the mall. So all of that vendor management can be done by Wipro themselves. They will create a software that will allow all the vendors to have access into it, which comes on the second topic, which is access control. Meeting rooms, hot desk booking. So whenever you're creating a booking interface for a theater, right? The theaters will not only just allow you to book seats, it will also allow you to buy ancillary services, which means it will allow you to probably buy a popcorn additionally. It will allow you to buy additional seats, comfortable seats. Will the delivery boy come ahead and give the package to you at your seat? Do you have to go and pick it up from there? So there are multiple things that that your software industry and IT services firms looks into. Look at the benefits and advantages. Automated processing, centralized occupancy, optimized resource utilization, reduction in wastage of premium office spaces, energy efficiency, integrated systems. This is what Wipro does. This is not what Trendset is doing. Wipro is doing it for Trendset. So for every front-end industry that you see, there's always an IT ES services company doing this for you. All right. Now let's look at some of those services and snapshots of those services that I think is essential in any of these industries, and what the ITES companies are doing in terms of helping the bigger industries. Till now, can I, is it all going above your head? Are you all understanding and following? Is it relatable to what you see in your daily life? Do you think it's going to help you? And someone come up and say, okay, this is something that I was not expecting. Something could have been more.
Sir, it's fine, sir. We can understand.
Great. Right. So what next is I will just create a few services and snapshots which you possibly will be able to relate to as you go forward. So while you are learning a lot on computing technologies, you'll have to understand all that you're learning today. How are you going to put that into solving these processes? So let's say digital commerce, right? We look at omni-channel commerce. So whenever we want to buy a certain product, we not only look at buying it over the phone, we try to look at going to a store. We would also expect they can give the same experience when I want to buy it from a mobile. So that's your omni-channel commerce. So it gives you a same experience across omni-channel. Let's look at cybersecurity. You hear of cybersecurity on a regular basis. You look at payments, you look at digital trust, right? So you will hear of concepts called multi-factor authentication as you grow across, as you get into the new organizations. All of these are very important. So everything to do with cybersecurity. We will talk about testing services. Some of you will become one of the best testers in the world. You'll probably look at things like testing, APIs, microservices testing. You will hear of data warehouse testing, BI testing, quality assurance. While I was working with one of IT companies in the UK, it was a travel company, and there were at least 140 employees who were from the southern part of India who were just doing testing, and it's such an amazing feeling of doing, let's say on a finished product, you're doing testing to see can that get into a production. So that's a great feeling. So after testing, you will do consulting services. How can you change if a business has only been in legacy platforms? Somebody has only been working on let's say very age-old C programming languages, and they have age-old systems, and they want to move into the cloud. You do consulting for that. You look at supply chain, like I said. You look at order management, inventory management, warehouse, revenues. You look at applied AI. Today's world is only about artificial intelligence. There are companies, there are grocery stores on the market who will just know what you've purchased in the past, and they will just recommend and fill your basket. That's applied AI. Application development and maintenance. All these IT services companies will go ahead and develop applications for end users. So whenever you get into companies like Cognizant or Wipro or Infosys, what they do, they basically deal with multiple clients. These clients could be companies like, have you heard of Dettol? So Dettol is ideally built by or manufactured by a company called Reckitt Benckiser. Now it's called Reckitt. So Reckitt will need to launch multiple products. So Dettol is one product, Airwick, which is your air freshener, Mortein, right? All of these are their products. So if they have to launch, they need to understand what is the application on which I can launch those products. Who can develop that application for me? Can there be a power application that can be built? That's one. Look at APIs, integrations, and microservices. So I, as a company, need to integrate with multiple other associates. For example, I am a hotel. And I do not know where can I get the best returns from the hotel. For that, I need to get into integrations. We look at blockchain. You must have heard of blockchain. You're probably reading on blockchain. Blockchain is used extensively in the banking sector. I'm sorry if there's a background noise. It's all working from home, so things will change. Service experience and transformation. So there is an expectation of customers having a service level agreement. Okay, there's a problem. I need to have a 1 hour downtime. I need to have a 4 hour downtime. I need to have an 8 hour downtime. I need to get my services up and running in the next 1 hour. Again, IT companies will take care of that, right? Next is we look at interactions and workspaces. We look at cloud. People are moving into cloud. There's so much modernization, transformation, and moving into cloud. Data analytics. Today the world is just into analytics. Like I was saying, you must have people. Can you still hear me? Is it okay?
Yes,
I
sir,
hope
it's
you can all
clear.
hear me. Okay, great. Right. So data and analytics, right? So everything is about data now. Today, whatever we are talking is getting saved somewhere. There are millions of data. All of that needs to be funneled into a data lake, and that's when analytics keeps into foray. Let's look at Agile and Devops. You will hear about Agile and Devops. These are kind of delivery mechanisms, right? So you look at how quickly can you process a particular software product. You will hear all of this as we progress or as you get into the market. IoT. Everybody has heard of IoT. One of the things that you may be aware is that how is IoT being utilized in probably, let's say, when you get into an airport, right? And you're looking for a bigger airport. Let's consider airport like JFK or Heathrow or even Shamshabad for that matter. And there are multiple bags that come from different countries, right? There are sensors in the baggage belts which will read your baggage, and that's how the bag gets transferred. Okay, this guy, Ritam, is going to Hyderabad. All right, so the baggage will automatically go ahead and move into after scanning your asset tag, after scanning the tag of your bag, it'll automatically move into the lane where the Hyderabad bags are coming. So that is how IoT is developing. All the manufacturing units are using IoT big time these days. Engineering services, digital marketing. How can I do insights? How can I do decision making marketing? How can I look at application modernization? So these are all the processes and services the IT companies work on. Right? I know some of these could be going above your head, but these are some of the names that you'll probably have to keep and understand that while you go into the market, while you study, while you move into your next role, these are things that you'll come across on a regular basis. Some of you will touch these on a daily life. Some of you will become masters in this. Today we talk about machine learning, we talk about AI, right? We talk about robotic process automation. All of these fall in all of these categories. So let's look at let's look at some of the case studies which will give you an idea as to what is working well and what is not working well. And let's see how the bigger companies are trying to help. So I have a case study on Infosys. So this was for a banking company. So let me read that part for you. So Infosys APIs microservices integration, part of Infosys Cobalt. Cobalt is their own platform. Recently revamped the infrastructure of a multinational bank, improving their P2P multi-protocol architecture and excessive 5,000 point interfaces, which means whenever there are, so in a bank, somebody wants to transact, there are actually 5,000 multiple points in the backend, which can cause a lot of delay, right? For which, what Infosys did, they came into the process. They tried to do a API interface, and they helped in launching new products. The benefit you will see, they have got 5,000 point-to-point interfaces. They replaced it with 440 APIs, resulting in a great faster time to market. That's what Infosys is doing. Let's look at another company. Let's look at Wipro, for example. So Wipro actually helped the HR systems for a leading aerospace company. Again, key takeaways, you'll hear of probably Snowflake as one of the best databases in the world coming through, right? So they worked about database technologies, a data warehouse technology. They moved into creating, with the use of Matillion, they did ETL transformation, which is your extraction, transformation, and loading. And then they moved into giving a solution to this leading aviation company. Result, cost savings of 960,000 over 3 years and a reduced processing time of 15 hours. Some of you will actually become business analysts as leaders and business analysts. So what will happen is that when you go into let's say a business meeting, the business guy, the business head, or the CEO will tell you that, listen, I need to go ahead and reduce my costs. I'm spending so much money on my applications. I cannot go ahead and help and work with this. So help me with the solution. That's when, if you're working with Wipro or companies or any IT services company, you will be able to understand that, okay, these are the ways that I can cater to a market. This is what the company wants. This is what I want to show them. So what are the things that I can bring into the table to enhance that process? After Wipro, let's look at TCS. TCS also went ahead and tried to help one of the biggest grocery retailers in the UK and see what they've done. So they have used Agile and methodology in alignment with Azure DevOps. They use Power Automate. It's a Microsoft tool to help exercise the best benefits of TCS for Sainsbury. So 7,000 plus workflows reduced, 100% productivity and functionality retained. So that's great achievement for a business. When they're saving money, when they're saying reduce time to market, I think that is great. I have also included the links. So whenever you look at these slides, when you go to the link, you will see what all these companies are doing in terms of benefiting and helping. Right? Any questions, anybody till now? All right, I'll take that as a no, and I'll move forward to my next topic, my last topic, which is digital transformation with industry platforms. This is where we talk about platforms. Till now, we have understood that there are industries, then there are processes in the industries that need to be worked on, and those processes are helped by software companies. These software companies are the ITES companies or companies like the services companies, right? These services companies work with companies like Microsoft, SAP, Oracle, and deliver their solutions. Now, how many of you have seen these names? How many of you know these names? I'll probably say 80% or 90% of people know about all these products or all the companies.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Right. Great. Now let me just ask a small question. What do you think the top three, say Ford, Philips, and Netflix, differ from Uber, Booking, and Airbnb? Give yourself 30 seconds, 35 seconds, and tell me what you think could be the differences between the top line and the second line. Go ahead, and if the answers are absolutely wrong and rubbish, this is absolutely fine. Nobody knows. I never knew before I got onto the market. So go ahead and give me the most, not so easy answers. Give me the wrong answers. I'm more than happy to take it. Please give me. Let's understand how you're thinking around these products. Anybody?
The below tree comes under customer interaction, like bookings.
Very good. Very good. Very good. That's a great observation. What do you think the top three does?
It's like any product we use, like.
Correct. Excellent. Beautiful. Leaders are speaking. Go ahead. Let's get one more leader speak. One more. Think loud. Think about it. Anything is fine. Even if the answer is not right, go ahead. Just attempt. Can I give you a clue? Does Uber manufacture something? Does Ford manufacture something?
Ford manufactures cars.
Correct. So the top three, if you look at the top three, right? So Ford is manufacturing cars. Ford is they hold the entire end-to-end production and delivery of their product. Philips creates either their TVs, they manufacture their let's say their tubes, their bulbs, all of those products. So they are again their own manufacturer. Netflix streams its own contents, right? So Netflix will offer its own subscription models. Now let's look at Uber. What Uber does, Uber is not manufacturing anything. Uber has just created some kind of a software wherein suppliers, which is cars, vendors come into the portal, users come into the portal, payments people come into the portal. So there are multiple people who come into the portal and then offer. So Uber is not manufacturing anything. Booking.com. Booking.com is not having its own hotels. Booking.com will not have its own flights. What they are doing, they are providing a platform, or they are providing a space where people like, let's say, GoIbibo, or people like Indigo, right? Air India, people like Marriott, they are coming into and saying, okay, I want to offer my services. And then customers like us are using this portal to go ahead and interact with those services. Airbnb, they don't own any hotels. They are only providing services to buy hotels, and they're providing it to customers. So that's where my next slide comes about. And it talks about two different models. One is a linear business model. The one is a platform business model. So the linear businesses is the one that you saw on top. So they own their inventory, which means they own their product, and it shows on their balance sheets. So it is their assets, their liabilities, whether it's a car manufacturer like General Motors or a subscription content provider like HBO. They either create or directly license all of its content. So that's your linear business model. So Philips, General Motors, Ford, Netflix, they are on a linear business model. A platform model, on the other hand, they don't directly create and control inventory, right? They are basically the ones who don't own the means of production. They create only the means of connection. So all the successful platforms, they basically facilitate exchanges by reducing transaction costs, by enabling innovation. So all that you hear these days, right, whether it is your e-commerce, whether it's IoT, whether it's RPA, whether it is machine learning, data lake, all of this goes behind creating a platform. But what should be the characteristics of a platform, right? This platform ideally needs to be connected, which means wherever you go, it should give you the ability to connect to the platform, which means whether you're using a mobile phone, a computer device, whether you're using, let's say, a laptop or a tablet, okay, all of this needs to enable you to go ahead and connect to that platform. That's one. So platform needs to give you the ability to connect to anything or any device for that matter. Next is it needs to be intelligent. It needs to understand that, okay, there is a possibility that the customers buy or are using Uber only at a certain time, only between 8 to 5, which means I can possibly use my peak surcharge during this time, right? Let's say booking.com, they know that, okay, summer holidays and winter holidays is during December, which means that I need to ensure that my servers, which is providing that solution, has enough space to take as much traffic. Also, when there's rainy or monsoon season, travel will be low. So my servers need to be scalable enough, or they need to understand or intelligent enough to know that, okay, at this point of time, the load will be less. That should be a characteristic of a platform. Next is it needs to be scalable, right? Today, if there are 100 cars in Uber, it needs to allow you to allow 1,000 cars. If it's got 1 million subscribers in Uber, it needs to allow you to have at least 15 million subscribers. So your platform needs to be able to give you these three characteristics, apart from being extremely open. It needs to be open to all changes. It needs to be, for example, it can be used, it could be reused and recycled. It could be just, let's say, it stays open for any amount of transactions to come through. So all the platform that you'll probably have to look at, okay, will have these 4 characteristics. Now, as we come closer to the conclusion of my presentation, I will tell you how a sample platform is constructed. So let's take a retail business example, right? So let's take an example of any retail store. Let's say a Titan watch company, right? So what do they need to do? So they first need to see, are they creating a B2B, a channel which is a business to business channel? Do they have to go ahead and give it to let's say a company like Kamal Watch Company or a store, or they will sell it to the customers directly, a B2C, right? Will there be an option of telesales? If somebody comes to in-store, can my software allow you to provide assisted sales? So for example, if somebody comes and says, okay, I'm looking for a chronograph, or I'm looking for just a digital system or a smartwatch, does my software allow me to give intelligent assisted sales to the customer? And digital store. So when I walk into a store, do I have a kiosk that allows me to quickly check what are the options available, right? Then comes your retail operations. How many stores will connect? How is the assortment being done? How many kind of Titan watches are there? What are the watches that I can create, or how can I place it in my store? What are the different products? What are the categories? Are they women? Are they for children? Are they for elderly? Are they for men only? Are there any loyalty programs? So for example, you've always purchased Titan, right? And you go back to Titan and they are not giving you any kind of a promotion or offers. Would you probably go for another company, right? So any company needs to look at loyalty programs as well. And then barcode. So barcode scannings, that's very important. Next is you look at something that you'll probably learn in due course and you'll come across as your ERP. ERP is your enterprise resource planning. Softwares like SAP, like Dynamics 365, right? Like Salesforce, they have their own enterprise resource planner, which means the software application itself provides you let's say a solution to manage the finances, which means your accounts, your supply chain, how things are getting procured, how the Titan watch is being manufactured to end, the human resources for who are the people who are there, whether it's in the payroll department or people who are in the manufacturing department and the operations. That becomes your core ERP. Next is you'll hear of content management systems, something like Drupal, right? So how do you create the interactive user experience? So tomorrow, if you get into an IT services company, probably this is an element that you'll pick up, that okay, I want to be the best UX guy. I know what I can create. What are the templates that I can create for a content management service? What are the extended features that can be given to Titan, right? Then comes customization engine. So promotions, recommendations, experience. So that is what a platform needs to offer. Then comes your customer 360, which means a single view of customer. So whenever he comes to a store, you should know that, okay, Ritam has purchased Titan in the past, or he has browsed Titan products in the past, or he has purchased Titan in the past. What is his sentiment? What does he want to do? I mean, does he look at black wristwatches all the time? Can I offer him different varieties of black? What is his profile? That is something that your platform will be able to create. And then you have the payment integration services, something like traditional payments, like cash on delivery or cash, credit card, wallets, UPIs, Apple Pay, PayPal. All of these things are important. Another element is your marketing and CRM, right? So marketing, how are you marketing your Titan products? How are you managing your customer relationship management? So how are you able to engage with all your sales, marketing information in a single channel? Then you have analytics, predictive analytics, prescriptive analytics. All of these things you will see a platform needs to create. And then comes, at the end of the day, everything comes into data. So that is what is an example of your data lake, right? Let me go to the second last slide of my presentation. What I think are the bigger companies are doing in terms of the platforms. So look at this. Cortex AI is Deloitte's own platform. It's their own AI platform, which develops and deploys scalable applied AI solutions. Infosys has its own finance platform called Finacle. Engineering Next is a platform from Wipro. Infosys again has its own platform, NIA. There are multiple platforms. Any time you get into any industry, any companies, you will see they create their own platforms to ease the usage of your daily processes. So before I conclude, this is one thing that I'd like to share, that industries, IT services, and platforms all merge together. And at the center is data. So whenever you are looking into the next prospects of life, you need to see how is data being managed? How much is data important? What are the areas that I can go ahead and cater to in terms of developing or working around data? So you as future leaders, you will see that your element of, so when you go into, once you start moving out of Loyola, you start moving to different organizations, you'll see there's a need for full stack developers. There's a full stack developers, which means that you need to know how to create applications both for the client side and server side, right? Then you will see an element of testing, like I said. There's so much of need for data scientists in the market, especially in the international market. Data scientists are just working through algorithms, working through how data is ingested, how things are being extracted. There's so much of information on ETL, cloud. Look at Azure, look at AWS, look at Google Cloud platforms. If you look at Azure's website, if you look at their services, they have got so many things built into them, right? So I think today the world is just calling leaders like yourselves, companies who are, you are all getting the best education in terms of your IT side of things. You know what industries you can get into, and you know where you can lead in the next line. So I would suggest that utilize this time to look at everything around you and see how are IT services, how are industries collaborating with each other, and what are they trying to figure out. Today, when you're ordering Swiggy, look at their applications and see that what is being connected, what is it that they are observing, what is it that they are taking details, what are the elements of payment that they are buying. When you're going ahead and booking, let's say from Book My Show, see all the elements that Book My Show offers you. When you're studying, when you're, let's say, getting into an upgrade, when you get into a certification course for yourself, you will see what kind of elements, what kind of ways things are getting delivered. So I will say keep your eyes and ears open, invest in learning as much as you can, extracting as much as you can, and you will see there is so much available for people like us to read, take trial versions, experiment on platforms. And I will leave you with my contact details. I am always reachable on email and phone. So any questions you have, any guidance you need, I'm here to help you all. All right. So that's me. That's where I would like to end my presentation. I hope I've not taken much time. I will keep the forum open for any question and answers. If I'm able to answer the questions right now, that's great. If I'm unable to, I will drop you an email with the answers shortly. So go ahead. And again, thank you so much for listening to me, for being patient. I hope it has not gone over your head. Some of this could have been a little not as expected, but this is something that you will see in the market as you step in. So again, forum open for all question and answers.
Good morning, sir.
Hi, good morning.
Sir, I am Shiva, a student from Andhra Loyola College.
Hi,
I have
Shiva.
one
Good to
question,
meet you.
sir.
Please tell me.
Sir, nowadays many of the companies are taking robots, giving jobs to robots instead of us, sir.
Right.
How it would be correct at what level it would be correct, sir?
That's a great question. Now, let's say a robotic process automation. Okay, so robots. So robots do not function in itself, right? There has to be a way that you need to create or make the robot function. So yes, there is definitely an element of automation taking a lot of precedence and manual labor decreasing. But understand this, that to create the RPA, to create the robots, there's so much of algorithm that goes behind it. So when you look at, there are companies like UiPath, Blue Prism, okay? They are the ones who are excelling in robotic process and automation. So you as someone who is looking into robots, you should not look at robots as someone who is taking your place. However, you should look at someone who's assisting the robot with creating the functionality that he will deliver for everybody else, which means your play actually increases with time. So let's say, for example, your chatbots, right? So when you go ahead and get into any kind of let's say any website which gives you a chatbot in front that tells you, does it mean that your work is reducing? You're creating the algorithm for a chatbot to answer and advise all the questions on your behalf when you're not available. So that is something that can be done. But yes, there will always be a debate between automation, reducing manual labor, automation reducing the quantity or count of manual labor. But the way the industry is functioning, the way industry 4.0 talks, which is about the fourth industrial revolution, it talks about IoT and IOP, which is Internet of Things and Internet of People, which means people need to invest in sentiment analysis. People need to invest in predictive analysis. That's when robots can function. So if you, Shiva, are not looking at analysis, then your robot will not even be able to help the customer. They will only do transactional work that they have been doing in the past. But you need to provide all the algorithms. You need to provide all the ways you can think of analytics that can make the robot more future-proof. But yeah, that's a great question, Shiva. Thank you so much. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you, sir.
Great. Anybody else? Let's utilize the forum. We have a couple of minutes, so go ahead. I'll be more than happy. And any question is fine, and you do not have to just keep it to the slides only. Ask me any question which can probably you have, which I can help you understand or can guide you further.
Could you provide your email, sir, so that I can contact you?
100%. I will share my details, and then with Kamlakar sir, and then I'm sure it'll basically go ahead and go to all of you. No problem, and I'll even put this in the chat. 1 second.
Thank you so much.
That'll be easy. Pleasure. Any questions? More than happy to take your questions. I know we have more than half a century people out here, so more than 50 people. So I'm more than happy to take a few more questions if that's all right.
So now, sir, Rhythm sir.
Sir.
Nowadays we are hearing the word Salesforce.
Right. Correct.
Actually, what is the major role of the Salesforce, sir?
Right. So when Salesforce came into play, Salesforce was primarily a ERP. It was an enterprise resource planning software. The Salesforce was providing CRM solutions and ERP. So when I say CRM, it gives you something like your sales information. So you want to track your leads, opportunities, your pursuits that you're doing. Then you know, okay, for example, I'm a sales guy. I want to know there are 20 companies who I have to manage. So Loyola is one university. Okay, let's say a company like a defense company. So all of those companies will get into my CRM, and then I need to know whether I've created a lead for that, an opportunity for that. That's the CRM side of things. On the ERP side of things, you will hear things like your supply chain. You hear of finance, so account receivables, account payables. You will look at logistics. You look at operations of retail. All of that comes under the enterprise resource planning. So how is the HR looking at functioning their programs? Salesforce also acquired a company called Tableau. So Tableau also provides a lot of analytics in terms of predictive and prescriptive. So Salesforce as a company provides solutions both for CRM, for ERP, and analytics. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, sir.
Great. Career in Salesforce, Abbas, that's a great question. So you need to understand that, again, whenever you get into Salesforce, you'll have to see what are the opportunities in Salesforce, right? So you'll have to see that, okay, are they looking for full stack developers? Are they looking for people who are into analytics as such? So Salesforce is an organization, a huge organization. So you need to understand that they are more than welcome to give opportunities to new people. So go ahead and look at the careers website. I have a few contacts who we can work around, and all these bigger companies that you see are more than willing to just to get and welcome new opportunities. The thing is that we need to know what is our strength, where is it that we want to go. Now that you know that Salesforce caters to all of these industries, you can pick your industry and say, okay, this is what I know, this is what I'm great at, this is what I've been doing, this is what I want to cater to, this is what I can provide a solution for, this is what my plans are, and they're more than welcome to take you up. So that's a great one. Thank you,
Rhythm,
Lavanya.
sir.
Thank you. Yeah.
Rhythm, sir.
Go ahead, sir.
What are the major steps that a student need to take if he wants to become an entrepreneur?
Okay, see, very good question. So entrepreneur, for that matter, you'll have to understand that I am someone who wants to lead something and develop something on my own, right? I want to be, let's say, something who owns my own business, or I want to do my own consulting. So for anything, to get into an entrepreneurship model, you need to understand what is happening in the market. So market research is very important. So you need to understand that what are the trends in the market. Now, if I want to be an entrepreneur for digital services, I need to know what are the companies who are trying to move into the digital side of things and what is it that they want. So research is extremely important. Market analysis is extremely important. Trends is extremely important. And then am I able to either provide consulting services, or am I able to create my own solutions which can go to the end users? I have my so while I was in Loyola myself, my friends who now are entrepreneurs, what they have done, they have seen. So one of my very close friend, his name is Vamshi. So he said that, okay, fine, I would want to open up my own training, own training department. I need to open my own training class. I will employ people who will help understand. So I'll employ people who are good at programming. I'll employ people who are good at web designing. And what he has done, he has now taken a number of people who's taken jointly created, went to the market and said, listen, I have a team of resources who can help you build your own website. I have a team of resources who can give you the best design. I have a team of resources who can create the best power apps. So the investment is zero. Just go ahead and try this app. As people start using the app, you get money. And today's world is so open to digital that you can go ahead and start your own company just like that. You just need to know where you want to put your thoughts. So market research is very important. Understand the trends of the market is very important, and always cater to your strengths. Try, even if you fail, it's okay, but you should know. I have been doing a lot of while I studied a lot of hardware, IT services, I did sales. Now I am doing my consulting because now I realize and understand that, okay, I know mostly all about modern workspace in Microsoft. I know Microsoft 365 completely in and out, and I can do consulting independently. So that's important. You know your product, you know the trends in the market, you know what is happening in the market, and that will make you a successful entrepreneur. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Prem, thank you so much. I'm very helpful. I'm very happy that what I've done, what I've tried to prepare has been helpful for all of you. Now, just to understand, this is primarily a preparatory guide to know what is happening in the market. While you move into the market tomorrow, there'll be many options that will open up. Okay, there will be many options that will come up. But look at, as you start approaching your next move towards your career, go to all these companies' website and see career options. Go to Wipro, go to Infosys, go to Microsoft, look at careers. See what is the trend. See what they're actually trying to onboard. What are the offers they're trying to give at this point in time? And then you start preparing. Okay, great. People are looking for ETL developers. They're looking for, so what kind of ETL tools can I use? Okay, they are looking at integrations. Can I learn about MuleSoft? People are talking about robotics, RPA. Can I learn Blue Prism? Can I look at UiPath? There's so much on terms of analytics. Can I learn data warehouse on my own? Can I create? Let's do something. I'll tell you what. On your what I have done. or your free time, right? Just go ahead and get into a trial version of Microsoft Azure or AWS, right? And then create your own data warehouse, create your own analytics, go and create your Power BI reporting. All of you will have access to trial licenses and you do not have to pay for it. Go ahead and use that. Obviously trial licenses are probably for a month, some could be subscription for a year, but go ahead. While you're subscribing to Netflix, go ahead and subscribe to Azure, go ahead and subscribe to Google. I think that's great. Try and invest your time, 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes on a weekend on probably on the Azure website, okay? And then go ahead and create your own servers, create your own data warehouse applications, create your own data lake. All of that is free for you to learn. And when you go ahead and approach companies like Salesforce or Microsoft, they'll tell you, that's great. You can probably make a little presentation and say, okay, this is what I have done, sir. I'll be more than happy to present that to you. And you'll be just picked up like that, right? So I think that's what I had to say. I really want to thank all of you once again to be a part of this session. Again, any questions, anything that you have to ask, I am there on my email. Feel free to drop me a liner and I'll be here to help you at any point in time. Over to you, Kamalakar, sir.
Thank you, Rhythm, sir. It is very informative and quite knowledgeable. I request Aparna, madam.
Yeah, okay, sir. It's time for vote of thanks. Gratitude is an attitude of heart. It's a great privilege for me to propose vote of thanks to everyone who helped us to make this international webinar such a great success. First and foremost, I would like to thank the Almighty God for His blessing throughout this process. My heartfelt gratitude to our chief guest, Mr. Rhythm Sengupta, for generously accepting our invitation. Thank you, sir, for your informative and thought-provoking talk. Our sincere gratitude to our principal, Reverend Father Dr. G.A.P. Kishore, SD. I would like to thank our beloved HOD Kamlakar sir for his moral support. I thank Computer Science Department faculty from the bottom of my heart who had made this webinar a great success. I immensely thank the students who joined us in this webinar from far and wide. Students from Germany, Canada, Australia, and Tamil Nadu. Thank you very much for your support. My sincere thanks and appreciation to all the participants. Thank you, one and all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye, sir.
Thank you, Rhythm, sir.
Thank you, sir.